And then the work starts on Dark Horse. So you start writing songs. Well, that I think eventually end up as Dark Horse. Let's start with All on Me because that song is kind of I think the song that catapulted you into attention a little bit. Can you take me through that writing session? What were those writing sessions like?
Yeah, I mean, when you writing your first album, you kind of write every day for a couple years, hopefully, you know. And you always say you have your whole life to write your first album and like 6 months to write your second album, you know. Right. But I used to write on Sundays a lot with my guitar player Austin, who's here with us. And something about writing on Sunday, just no pressure, just wake up whenever, get some coffee, and you know, figure out what you feel that day. And All on Me was just a title, like an idea that I had in my phone that felt right that day. And so we just wanted to write, like I said, we wanted to write a love song just in a different way that anybody had said it. And so it's really a song that's like, you know, when you need me, I'll be there for you, but said from my way and my perspective. And we kind of just wrote it on a Sunday. It kind of just happened, and we didn't record it for a couple of weeks. And I think it took me hearing it back on the recording to realize, like, wow, like, I like that. That feels honest, and it feels popular, and it feels good. And I could hear this on the radio one day. And so it was cool that became the first single, because it was the first song I really wrote that felt like it started an album. Yeah.
And I think you said because it was an immediate success in a way. So, and I think you said in an interview you liked that speed. Because and then you followed it up by saying complacency is what scares me. So I wondered what you meant by that. Is it complacency in songwriting? You mentioned the technical and attention to detail that you had in your previous band.
Yeah, I think complacency is a negative word. Like, right. Complacency and rest are different. Complacency is like almost being stuck or having to wait till the next thing, or just, you know, being stuck. And rest is, it's hard for me to justify rest, but I know that resting is going to make everything else better. It's going to inform everything else. So for me, I just want to keep going. I want to keep pushing those boundaries. I want to keep pushing my own boundaries, and whether that's coming to a new country or writing new songs or, you know, doing new interviews with people I'd never met, like, that's what keeps forwarding things, and meeting new people and learning and asking questions. Like, complacency is almost like really selfish and kind of just like cocky or giving up in a way, or it's stuck, and I don't like that. I want to keep moving and setting new goals and hopefully reaching them, and if not, learning why and learning from that, you know.
Is there, I'm sure there are many, but is there one thing in particular that you took away from this process of making Dark Horse? Something that you learned about yourself, maybe even?
Yeah, I worked with a guy named Jay Joyce, and he's the producer for this, and he's really an incredible producer, really known in Nashville for kind of being this outside of the box, daring kind of guy that isn't scared to just go for whatever feels right, regardless of what it sounds like. And I learned that it's okay to not be perfect, and that people enjoy that. Like, I enjoy hearing imperfections in other people's music, but it's hard to let yourself be okay with making your own music imperfect. It's hard to be okay with letting go and making the decision of, you know, maybe I sang that a little flat, or maybe that's a little offbeat or whatever, but that's his fingerprint. Those are the things you remember. Those are the things that stick out because they are human. And you hear yourself say that, but even then it's hard to say yes to that and be okay with it and sleep at night knowing you maybe could have done it better. But it's more about being human and being yourself and kind of leaning into your artistry and your imperfection, because that's what makes you you. And so I learned that not only is it okay, but people like that, and that's comforting.
Right.
Because I'm far from perfect.
But like you mentioned earlier, you do pay a lot of attention to the lyrics that you write, and it's something that is very important to you. So I wrote some lyrics down, and I want to start with the final track, Dark Horse. The first line is, people always ask me why I wear black, and you mentioned Johnny Cash earlier on. He has a song, The Man in Black. Yeah. So is that kind of a nod to him as well, or is it?
Yeah, I mean, I think subconsciously. Like, I grew up in a town called Orangevale, which is literally 5 minutes from Folsom Prison. which is where he did this famous concert, this famous live concert. And so I grew up just idolizing him just because of growing up around there. Not like in his music, I love his music, but I wasn't necessarily influenced by his sonic identity or his music, but more just his lifestyle and his artistry and his ability to say whatever was on his mind without losing dignity. And I hope that somebody might say that about me one day. He's a big influence just on my artistry, I would say.
Well, he was somebody who was always talked about as somebody who stood up for the downtrodden in life. And then you have, I think it's the same song, but you're right, I'll side with the outsider. So do you have that mentality in a way, that kind of...
Yeah, I think, whether it's being in a metal band and then going to country, or being from California and then going to country, or I just have my own voice, and even though it's hard, I allow myself to speak in my own voice without like perverting it because it's what might work better or what somebody else wants me to do or whatever. Like, I'm very confident in allowing myself to be me, as hard as that is sometimes. And so I think in some ways I can come off as an outsider because of that in country music. And
well, like you say, you're quite unapologetic, and when you write songs about... Well, let me ask this first. For instance, a song like Symptoms, when you came up with that idea, did you have a specific person in mind?
No. Okay. I think sometimes songs are very personal, and they come out as an almost confession. And sometimes you write a song because as a songwriter you enjoy trying to figure out a puzzle. And Symptoms was a song that I liked the title, and I liked the idea of thinking you've been in love before, but then realizing, oh, this is what love is, because I've got all these symptoms of what real love is, right? And so for me, I just put myself into the shoes of what I felt or what I think it would feel like, And so for me, that was more of an accomplishment as a songwriter rather than telling my story. Okay. Whereas Dark Horse is me just telling who I am, right? And so there's different ways to accomplish a song, and it's okay to just want to be relatable to other people, and it's okay to write your story. Not every song has to, and I'm learning that. Like, I used to think every song has to be about me and my story, but I'm not like everyone, and I want everyone to be able to relate to my music in some way or another. So sometimes I just latch onto an idea that I want to impact and explain for the good of the greater good, I guess.
And have you noticed this in the reaction that people have to your music? Maybe the messages they send you, or the way they respond to your music?
Yeah, no, for sure. Like, a lot of people have either gotten married to All on Me, or maybe it's their wedding song, or maybe when they got engaged it was playing, or I get messages and paintings and everything every day from people saying Dark Horse is their anthem. It's the song that describes, like, you think, oh, you must have written that for me, and like that's the best thing. There's nothing better than that as a songwriter, as an artist, when you're speaking to somebody and it impacts them in some way, hopefully positive, But then there's other songs like Asking for a Friend, where for me, I'm not good at apologizing. So maybe it serves as a guy sending it to his girlfriend because he doesn't know how to say sorry. So he's like, here's this song that says sorry because I don't know how, So there's a bunch of different ways that the songs impact people, and I'm just obsessed with how they impact different people in different ways. And if they can feel something, then I've done my job.
Then there's also, I wrote a couple of lines down from Placebo, and like you said, you're quite unapologetic, and you don't hesitate to admit certain faults of your own. There's a line in there, I never learned my lesson, looks can be deceiving. So what is it like, and you seem very comfortable with it, but what is it like kind of opening up about your own life to other people?
I don't know why when I write a song or when I'm hiding behind a guitar or a song, I have the ability to say whatever, and I almost feel better about being vulnerable and saying things that might like cringe, or I wouldn't just say in conversation. Like, I don't know why. I can't answer that question. I think I have this need to want to share that part of me, but I can't do it unless I'm doing it through song. I don't know why I want to do that. It just feels right, and somebody needs to do it. Somebody needs to be real, and I don't mind being that, I guess. I don't know. It's hard to answer that, why I like to do that. I don't know.
Final question then. Well, the album's done quite well, first album.
Thank you so much.
You've toured with some great people. You've worked with some great writers as well. How do you see, I don't like the question, where do you see yourself in 5 years, but what is your ambition in a way? Where do you want to go?
It's a great question. I think anywhere towards the people that I'm touring with or looking up to, like, you know, that's the beautiful thing about opening up or supporting somebody else, is that you learn from them and you see what's possible and where you want to be, and you see yourself in them, or maybe they see themselves in you 5 years ago or whatever it is. So for me, like, I'm very I'm competitive. I want to win. I want to take it to the top, you know, and so I don't know. I want to go. I want to go everywhere. I want to take it to the top. I want my music to reach every corner of the world, and that's why we're here in Amsterdam. That's why we're going to Germany and Berlin and Hamburg, and we're going to London tomorrow. That's why we're expanding our breadth to this side of the world, because I've not been here much, but the time I have been here, I love, and to also have the ability for me to be here through music that I've written, that I sing, that are impacting lives in a certain way. It's an absolute dream come true. So I hope to keep spreading it to the other sides and other corners of the world. And when we meet again, hopefully we can talk about all the different places I've been since today. Yeah.
Sounds good.
Cool.
Devin, thank you very much for your time.
Cheers.
Thank you.